Hello there. As the English football team gears up to beat Germany later this evening, Welsh Labour put out a blueprint for the destruction of the United Kingdom. As per usual, please like, subscribe and comment below. Germany and the whole UK will be gearing up to watch the Wembley Stadium England v Germany UEFA Euro 2020 football game tonight in 2021. With the English supporters hoping for a home win and, as ever, the whole of Germany, Wales, Ireland and Scotland fervently wishing for an away victory by the Germans. 'Twas ever thus. The cross we English have to bear, effortless superiority and all of that. But in the meantime, Welsh Labour's First Minister for Wales, Mark Drakeford, has decided to throw a constitutional hand grenade into the UK mix by publishing a report that would, if followed through on, secure the complete breakup of the UK. And I say that because it's being reported that the Scottish SNP government likes the report. The report is called Reforming Our Union, Shared Governance in the UK. And the main thrust of this document seems to be that the devolved executives must be viewed as equals to the UK government. The relations of the four governments should therefore proceed on the basis of a partnership of equals in a spirit of mutual respect, and comment on the policies of other administrations should, within a culture of robust political debate, properly reflect that respect, it says. And it goes on to say that the UK government must not be seen as above the other three. The four governments being in practice each exclusively responsible within their territories for the exercise of relevant functions are not and must not be seen as in an hierarchical relationship to one another. This assumes that the UK government somehow has a purely English aspect to its powers, which is pure drivel. The UK government is constitutionally above the other three and must always take account of the interests of the whole UK. Westminster is even dropping English votes for English laws, or EVIL, because of this concept. Only at the level of certain ministers are powers limited to England only, such as in health and education. But they are in a cabinet controlled by the UK Prime Minister, who is also the self-styled Minister for the Union. But there is, as far as I can see, no dedicated minister for England. So the big gap in all of this is that England, as a region, is voiceless when compared to the other regions. There is no dedicated body or person to argue, act and speak solely for England. Only a ragtag collection of mayoral areas and regions, like the one in London, that has no liking for England as a concept at all. To be on an equal terms footing, as Drakeford puts it, surely England should have a First Minister of England backed up by its own dedicated government and Parliament, around the table with counterparts from Wales, Scotland and Northern Ireland, with all of them overseen by the UK Parliament and government. Because the Drakeford model demotes the UK government to the government of England, and I'm sure that was no oversight by him. And to those who claim that England should never have a voice of its own because it would be too big and powerful, I say, then why have Sturgeon and Drakeford been content enough to treat the UK government as the English government all these years? Why shouldn't there be a strong English-only voice pushing hard purely for the interests of the English? Why must the Welsh, Northern Irish and Scots tails always be wagging the UK dog and spending its money? The Welsh First Minister is correct to mention equality, but let's first give the English some real political equality and some real skin in the game. But further, in true Remainerish Labour Party fashion, Drakeford puts forward the idea of a UK Council of Ministers. Sounds just like an EU setup to me, where presumably the UK government could be vetoed by the other three. Something that would cause great anger in England, especially where taxes and who pays for it all are concerned. Unless there was a Labour Party trade union block vote type of arrangement where England could always win any vote due to the massive size of its population. Although when listening to the Welsh and Scottish nationalists, it's them that funds the UK. But the English say that they do. And all that is driven by the semi-hidden way funding is allocated and accounted for via the Barnett formula. And that's down to the fact that no one used to worry about the funding when we thought of ourselves as one cohesive nation and all in it together. But now some of us don't think we're all in it together. Devolution has put the final nail in that coffin, and Drakeford's proposal supplies the shovel to dig the hole to put it in. But since devolution, what has changed for the benefit of those living in Scotland and Wales? How much better is life under devolution? It seems things are still so bad that Westminster continues to bear the brunt of all the criticism coming out of Edinburgh and Cardiff, despite it handing over oodles of cash, and Welsh and Scottish politicians making the decisions and Welsh and Scottish executives providing the services. If the push for independence in Scotland and Wales is because so much is still so bad in those devolved regions, then blame the people voted in and those employed by those elected politicians to do the work. But maybe all this talk is just pissing in the wind. Despite the ebbs and flows for and against independence, the overall trend does appear to be for separation, whether in the medium or longer term. Because for many in Scotland and Wales, the case for the United Kingdom is dead. And it's hard to see what could really be done to revive the unionist spirit and keep the union together. Talking about funding won't do it. Only family and emotional attachments really matter. Usually it takes some form of national emergency to draw us together and provide the cohesion. Well, we're in the middle of a pandemic right now, and calls are still coming for more devolution and independence. If anything, the pandemic has allowed the nationalists to drive wedges further between the UK regions. Now, you might be an Englishman who could not care less if the union splits up or not. But here's an example of our infrastructure cohesion. Much of the water that flows through the taps in the west of England is supplied from the reservoirs of Wales. And Wales, like England, does suffer from water shortages. So should its focus shift from the UK to the national, then we might need a whole lot of new water storage in parts of England. And water is not the only consideration. But the question is, what is the point of the union? What does the union of the United Kingdom do for each one of us? Does it make our lives better or worse? And how? And if you're a unionist or have a vague idea we're better off together on this island, then you need to start making the case for the union and making it well. Because it's far easier to blame big bad Westminster for all your ills and whip up local nationalist feeling. I may sound like a stuck record, but we need to look at the driving forces behind the independence movements in Scotland and Wales. And as I keep saying, we must recognise the blight of second homes right across the UK, including in England, that is causing so much tension and fueling these independence movements. Nowhere in the UK is the holiday home problem so visible as in Wales, where the Welsh are effectively being economically ghettoised into the South Wales areas. The rural heartlands of Wales have become filled with second homes, pricing locals out of their own communities, and have no doubt that is a ticking independence time bomb. My point being, if you claim to be a unionist and own a second home in Scotland, Northern Ireland or Wales, you are directly contributing to the end of the union, and your second home investment may actually become a casualty of independence, either through taxing you to force the sale, or a casualty of more direct action by extremists, where, like in the 1980s, a holiday cottage with a real fire takes on a whole new meaning. What sort of second home shall we view today, dear? An insurable one with a roof would be nice. I have it on good authority that there are villages within areas of high-density second homes where the primary source of employment is the servicing and cleaning at the minimum wage of those holiday cottages and second homes. Yet the average house price in that area is over 400,000 quid. The problem is these houses are not affordable to locals, so eventually the upkeep of second homes will be the only local industry and become untenable in the medium to long term. This only fuels Welsh anger and independence sentiment. And if the only accommodation in an area is mostly empty properties, paying a little or nothing into the local community, then money for schools and hospitals dries up. How sustainable is that? If people truly care about the union, they should care about this sort of stuff. Because the nationalists will use this however they can to destabilise the union, even to the point of encouraging more second homes in order to whip up nationalist feeling. And please don't tell me that this is all part of the free market and capitalism, with money, supply and demand being the only important factors. No, or else that sort of argument could be deployed where people trafficking and the drugs trade are concerned. A free market is one thing, but in any civilised society it is morality that has the last say, and believe me, you would not want to live in a society where this was not the case. And if things like the blight of second homes are not addressed, you can say goodbye to the union. So what's your opinion on the union of the United Kingdom and an English Parliament? Please like and comment below.